Hi teachers, in this video I am going to show you the basics of navigating Gooru and also monitoring student progress as they work. So once you log in, you'll see all of your active classrooms. I am interested in my STARI Boost classroom today, so this is the class card I'll be working with. So on the class card, I have a fraction here. I have 7 over 1,518. So the number on the bottom is the total number of competencies or standards that your students need to master in order to be at grade level. So this is a number summed up for all students. So it seems very high, but divide the denominator here by the number of students you have and it feels a lot more manageable. So far, out of all of the students in my class, they've mastered 7 total standards or competencies summed up among them. So from here, I have a bunch of different icons, and I also have this image part of the class card. So clicking on the image portion of the class card brings me by default to a class activities page. We're not going to focus too much on this page, so I'm going to click the X button in the upper left-hand corner to bring us back out to the classroom card. I'd like to focus more on these icons. So the class activities page, the little push pin icon, is what we just saw. You can reach it by clicking on the image part of the card or on the little push pin. Class activities are activities that you assign specifically pulled from your curriculum or from one of our libraries. So again, we're not focusing too much on this right now. I'd like to focus more on learning journey. So that is the second icon in the line. It looks like 3 little bars, like a sideways bar graph, and when you hover over it, it says learning journey. So I'm going to click on that. Now this shows me the course from top to bottom, from the very first thing the students have available to learn all the way down to the very last thing. It also gives me a high-level overview of how my students have done on those items so far. So from the side here, I can see on the practice consonants unit, on average, my students scored 92%, and 3 students have completed some of those assignments. You can click into any of these units to see the lessons that comprise them. So in this unit, there's 1 lesson. And I can click on the lesson to see various activities included in it. So this lesson has lots and lots of practice activities for my students to work on, all under the unit of practicing these consonants. So for the Say Out Loud activity, I can see that there were 8 practice questions, and my students spent an average of 6 minutes and 8 seconds on it. So something to point out here is we have 2 symbols. This one right here that kind of looks like a waffle is a symbol for a collection. So these are resources or practice questions. That's why there's no grade associated here. They're just practice questions that aren't scored by the system. It just gives the students a chance to explore the material before they're more formally assessed on it. That's what the percent sign here is. It's an assessment. So I've got 2 collections or 2 practice opportunities, one with 8 questions and one with 7 questions. It might also include resources like videos or interactive sites. And then I've got several assessments following that. So it looks like I have a whole handful of assessments following those practice opportunities. So for this first assessment, it's just 2 questions. I can see 83% is the average score, and 3 of my students completed that assessment. For the next one, it's also 2 questions. Again, 3 students completed that assessment, and the average score is 100%. If you'd like more data on a specific assessment, so I can see here of these 4 assessments that my students have worked on, this one has the lowest average, so I'd like to take a closer look at maybe what's going on here. All you need to do is just click on the score. This gives you a much closer look at who has worked on the assessment and what their scores were, as well as the problems or questions that they got right and wrong. So I can see that the 3 students that took that assessment are Camille, Rachel, and Shawnee. Rachel and Shawnee scored 100%. I can see Camille scored a 50, and she got number 2 wrong. So this is really helpful over time as more students complete each assessment. You can sort by the average score to make groups that will be helpful for small group instruction. And you can also identify hotspots or questions that many students are struggling with. So again, to access that information, you can just click on the score. So for this one, the score was 100%. 3 students took the assessment. I can just click on the score to see who took it and how they did. So the learning journey does provide that really high-level overview, but you can drill down into those assessments to get a closer look at who's doing what and how they're doing. Another thing to notice along the side is you have all of your students listed. So here's all of the students in my class. Most of them have little dashes next to their name, but Camille, Rachel, and Shawnee have times. So what this does is it tracks the time spent per day or in this day on Gooru and in your class. So most students haven't started working today on their STARI Boost class in Gooru. However, I can see Camille has spent about 4.5 minutes, Rachel spent almost 3 minutes, and Shawnee has spent 7 minutes. So this is another high-level way to just check to see who's working, who's not working, and how much time they're spending on this course. You can also click on an individual student. So if I'd like to take a closer look at what Shawnee's been working on, you can just click on her. And now I can see Shawnee's individual learning journey. So on the prior screen, I saw the average scores. It said I had 3 students taking assessments and it showed me the average score among them. When you click on an individual student, it shows you that individual student's scores. So I can see that Shawnee's doing extremely well. She's scoring 100%. I can click in and take a closer look. I can see how much time she's spending, but those first 4 assessments, it's 100% all the way down. So you can get a good look at each of your individual students just by clicking on them from the side. So that is how to monitor your students using their learning journey. Again, it's accessible from your classroom card by clicking on the learning journey icon, the 3 little lines that look like a sideways bar graph. It's also accessible once you're already in the classroom. If you expand your tabs by clicking Advanced, the Learning Journey tab will always appear at the top.